This week's Torah reading covers both Acharei Mot and Kedoshim. Acharei Mot comes after the death of Nadab and Abihu, while their father Aaron is mourning and reflecting back on the loss of his sons who had so greatly sinned. This is when the Torah gives us instructions for Yom Kippur, to rightly atone before death instead of waiting until Acharei Mot. It is made clear here how important it is that we regularly reflect on the direction of our lives. Just as every board of directors, board of trustees, etc., is to have an annual meeting to reassess their mission and to get better on track, we are given such guidance here for ourselves. The Torah certainly gives us direction for life. And here we are given direction for Yom Kippur, for self-scrutiny, cleansing, and self-renewal. We are to cleanse the tabernacle of our bodies, and we are also to properly cleanse the sanctuary. The sanctuary is to be pure. We are to keep our sanctuary holy, to be ready for it, to invite and to welcome God. And we need to be ready to repurify ourselves. And we need to make right where we went wrong, and to strive to more rightly than live. Interesting it is that the guidance for Yom Kippur is provided to us now in the spring, about 6 months since last Yom Kippur and about 6 months before next Yom Kippur. This can serve to remind us that the teshuvah and all we are to do on Yom Kippur need not be only once a year. It is good for us to rightly look at the direction of our lives any time throughout the year. When we come before God on Yom Kippur, we come not just with our own merits, but we also come with the merits of our ancestors. We are responsible for our families now as well as our ancestors before. V'kiper biado uviad beito. We are to atone for ourselves and for our households. The guidance for Yom Kippur especially stresses the importance of our words. In the traditional Yom Kippur confessional, more than any other kind of sins listed are sins relating to improper speech. What we say is important. When we say what we say, it is then out there in the universe. And we need to be more conscious of and careful with what we say. We thus need to verbally confess. We need to put that out into the universe. We need to say it, and we need to mean it. Our words are so important, and they do have great power. This parsha explicitly instructs for a day of atonement as V'haita lachem lechukat olam, a law for all time. To be b'chodesh hashvi'i, in the 7th month, be'asor lachodesh, on the 10th of the month, for us to tianu et nafshotechem, afflict our souls, practice self-denial. V'chol melacha lo ta'asu, to do no manner of work. Ki vayom hazeh, for on this day, yikaper alechem, you shall atone. L'taher etchem, to purify you. Mikol hatotechem, for all your sins. Lifnei Adonai titaru, we are to be pure before the Lord. Shabbat Shabbaton hilachem, it shall be a Sabbath of complete rest for you, or for us. The self-denial described here we take to mean fasting, not working, not focusing on our normal daily doings, etc. It is not that fasting and other such self-denial is to make us suffer, but it is that we are to practice exercising our self-control. which if only we did more regularly, we would not lead ourselves to encounter more of the challenging issues of our lives. Self-control is so important always, and especially as we refocus ourselves on Yom Kippur. One of the biggest problems with the world is that people do not sufficiently and satisfactorily exercise self-control. We are here to reflect and learn from the mistakes of what we have been doing, and we need to refocus ourselves on what we actually should be doing. While this 10th day of the 7th month is not specifically called Yom Kippur here, this is repeatedly explained as a day that we must kaper, atone. Thus, this day, Yom, for kaper, atoning, we have called Yom Kippur. Also, a quick reminder in case you might be confused by this being said to be in the 7th month, while Tishrei is the holiday when we celebrate the creation of the world and begin that new year. The 7th month, though, is actually Tishrei when we think of our year as starting in Nisan, starting in the spring with the beginning of new growth, and that being the start of our freedom with Pesach, then being the first of our annual Chagim. While Acharei Mot continues beyond the introduction of Yom Kippur, well into more of how we should and should not live, to be appropriately good and right and pure as we are to be, Ushmartem atem et chukotai biet mishpatai, to observe all God's laws and all God's rules. V'lo ta'asu mikol hatoevot ha'eleh, and not do any of the things that so waste our lives and are such abominations. We then, this Shabbat, continue into Kedoshim. Kedoshim means be holy, with further instructions to and further guidance on how to Kedoshim to you, to be so holy. We are being called to an elevated, higher existence, a more optimal state of being and behavior. We should not be settling for less, but we should be striving for more. Coming from the instructions for Yom Kippur in Acharei Mot, we should see the connection that self-control is critical. In order to be able to be holy, we need to be more in control of who we are and how we are. The Kadosh HaKadoshim, the Holy of Holies, is within the Mikdash, and it is even more special than the special. And we too are to be even more special than the special. We need to put the extra and extraordinary and not accept the ordinary. We are to rightfully exercise self-control, and we are to rightly choose who we are and how we are, and we can and should choose to be holy. We can be as holy as we allow ourselves to be. We must focus on living life more rightly, not Acharei Mot, after death, but right now, while we are living. We must be Kedoshim. We must be holy. This parsha even includes the 10 Commandments again, but in a different order, and includes dozens more of the 613 commandments. We are commanded, Kedoshim to you. You must be holy. To be holy means to raise ourselves above the ordinary, to raise ourselves to be and do the best possible. Being as holy as we can be brings us closer to God. Not only is the English for holy, H-O-L-Y, similar to its English homonym, W-H-O-L-L-Y, but the Hebrew, Kadosh, can too well be seen as meaning to be more holy, W-H-O-L-L-Y, prepared to be more holy, H-O-L-Y. to be more completely prepared for all that is good. The state of being holy is the state of being more complete, of being more whole. We can be more whole and more holy as such if Ushmartem et kol chukotai v'et kol mishpatai. We faithfully observe all God's laws and all God's rules. V'asitem otam, and do them. And not only are we to be more good, to do more good, and to bring more good into this world, but also V'lo tiyeh zimah b'tochachem. We must not allow there to be such a waste and worse of depravity among us. Being holy should bring us better together, and together better. And I will leave you with all this to ponder this Shabbat, and encourage you to be more prepared, to be more complete, to be more whole, and to be more holy. The Shabbat Shalom.